Good morning, students. Good morning to all. Already we have started and studied the first lesson, right? So last class we have studied the economic system and the types of economic system. How many types of economic systems are there? Three types: socialistic economy and capitalistic economy. Next one is mixed economy. So last class we have studied about the capitalistic economy. Have you remember about that capitalistic economy? So the capitalistic system refers to the manner in which individuals and institutions are connected together to carry out the economic activities. Okay, and already we have studied the capitalism and socialism are two extreme and opposite approaches. In capitalism, if you see, there is total freedom and private ownership of means of production, right? So all the means of production will be handled and decided by the private ownership, right? But in the in the socialism, there is no freedom for private, and there is a public ownership of means of productions. Okay, so we have studied, all the basic problems: what to produce, how to produce, for whom produce. Everything will be undertaken by the government. Okay, there is no chance to taking the decision about the basic problem to the private sectors. And also we have studied the capitalist economy mean the free economy. Free economy mean laissez-faire policies. There is no government interventions, and market also will be determined by the economic activities. Okay, so the market only determines the economic activity. Market mean, so the market forces demand and supply. So the demand and supply only will be determine the economic activities, whole economic activities. Okay, okay, students. Today we will study about the another one type of the economic system, that is the socialistic economics or the socialism. Okay, okay, socialism, socialistic economy also called as a socialism. Socialism means it refers to a system of total planning, public ownership, and state control on economic activities. Okay, it refers to a system of total planning, public ownership, and state control on economic activities. System of total planning. Okay, so before we implemented some of the economic activity, we have to plan very well. Okay, so all the basic problems undertaken by the government planning. And public ownership means, so all the ownership also will be held by the public, that is a government. And all the economic activities will be controlled and regulated by the government. Okay, because there is more government intervention is there is no very much interest or the choice of the private sectors. Okay, the government only will be holding and regulating all the economic activities. And moreover, socialism defined as a way of organizing a society. Socialism defined as a way of organizing a society in which major industries are owned and controlled by the government. All the major industries, for example, atomic energy and railway department, and what are the major industries are there, everything also will be undertaken and regulated by the government. And the socialist economy also called as a command economy or planned economy. Planned economy already we have studied, so all the basic problems will be undertaken by the government itself. Okay, otherwise all the economic activity will be regulated or controlled by the plan, very well planned. Okay, moreover, in a socialistic economy, all the resources are owned and operated by the government. All the resources mean we can consider the natural resources and all the factors of productions. Okay, so all the factors of productions and all the natural resources, capital, everything will be operated by the government only. And here public welfare is the main motive behind all economic activities. Okay, what are the activities are undertaken by the government, everything also will be having one of the motive. Okay, what motive means? So the public welfare. Okay, even if the government has the more chance to increasing their income or profit, it will not be taken. Okay, so because the government has one of the main motive is public welfare. Okay, in before all the production or under the all production of the commodity, so it will be aiming the public welfare. And also it aims at equality in the distribution of income and wealth. Okay, so the income and wealth also will be moved to the equalizations. Okay, throughout the world or through all over the people will be having the aim of equality, equalizations. The income and wealth also will moving to all the people in the society. Okay, under the socialism. Russia, China, Vietnam, Poland and Cuba is the very best example for the socialism nations. Okay, next we will study about the features of socialism. What are the features are there under the socialistic nations? Okay, first one of the feature is public ownership of means of production. Public ownership of means of production. Under the socialistic economy, all resources are owned by the government. Already I said, so the natural resources and all the factors of productions also will be nationalized and it will be managed by the public authority or the central planning authority. Okay, so the basic problems, all the basic problems will be undertaken by or removed by the central planning authority only. Next one of the feature is central planning. Okay, under the socialism, another one of the feature is central planning. So here planning is an integral part of the socialistic economy. In the system, all decisions are undertaken by the central planning authority. Okay, so there is no freedom to the private sectors. Okay, even if the private sector want to start at any one of the industries, they must getting the permission from the government side. Okay, under the planning only all the economic activity will be moved. Okay, what are the planning have been taken by the government also will be very prepared under the central planning authority. So many of the economists. And the next one of the feature is maximum social benefit. Okay, under the socialism, so maximum social benefit will be planned. Social welfare is the guiding principle behind all economic activities. Okay, if you are taking any one of the economic activity, then maybe the production or the consumption. Okay, so behind the all economic activities, so the government want to prepare the welfare. Okay, so the one of the principle is their welfare principle. So the welfare society or the welfare only is the guiding principle behind all economic activities. And not only that, investment, all type of the investment are planned in such a way that the benefits are distributed to the all societies. Okay, so when the governments are taking to start at any of the industries, okay, that industries how it will be helpful to the whole societies. Okay, so after thinking all this benefit of this economic activity only, it will come to true. Another one of the feature is non-existence of competitions. Okay, under the socialism there is no competition in the market because all the economic activities, all the basic problems are undertaken and regulated and controlled by the public sector only or the government only. Okay, when it is like so, there is no need to making a competitions. because when we are taking the capitalism only, so the capitalistic people have the one of the motive, that motive is profit motive. Okay, when there is profit motive only, so the market mechanism will be creating the competitions. Okay, all the entrepreneurs will creating the competitions. Okay, but in the socialism there is not like that. Okay, because the market mechanism automatically increase or decrease, or even if there is more even if the price mechanisms are determined in the market, the government will be intervened and it will be controlled the demand and supply. Okay, so when there is more demand, so the government also will be increasing the supply of commodity. And when there is no more competitions, the government, the consumer also will have the limited choice to consume any of the commodities. Okay, but we have studied under the capitalism, sorry, under the capitalism, so all the consumer also have the more rights or more chance to consuming all the commodities what they want. Okay, but in the socialism, the government has one of the motive, the social welfare. Okay, so when they have the social welfare motive, so the government will not produce some of the unwanted product. Okay, so the product which has affected the consumer health, so the government will not be produced. Okay, in that time, so the consumer also will have the limited choice to consume. Next one is absence of price mechanism. Absence of price mechanism. Price mechanism means, so the market force, one of the factor of market force. Okay, the price and the demand and supply. Okay, on the basis of the demand and supply only, the price will be decided. You all know. Okay, but even when there is more demand, so automatically the price will be increased. Okay, in that time, so the government will be intervened on the demand and it will be decrease the price. Okay, suppose if there is more demand, mean the government also will be taking the more effort to increasing the supply of commodity on the basis of increasing demand. Okay, then demand and supply also will be come to equal that time, so the price also will be reduced only by the intervention of the government. Okay, but in this capitalism, even if there is more demand, automatically the price will be increased. So there is, because of there is no government interventions, no one will take the action to control the price of the commodity, decreasing the price for that commodity. Okay, but in the socialism, so the government must be taking some of the action to reducing the price for that commodity. Okay, so the absence of price mechanism also will be very low or there is nil. And another one of the essential features in socialism is equality of income. Okay, equality of income. The income and wealth always will move to all over the people throughout the world or societies. Okay, because there is no classes, so the rich and the poor. Okay, because of that, so all the people will having more equalizations in their income and wealth. Okay, all the social benefit will enjoyed by throughout the societies. And another one is so the private property. So under the socialism, so the private property and the law of inheritance do not exist. Okay, because if the private people want to purchase any of the property, or if they want to start any of the industries, they must asking the permission from the government. Okay, suppose when they want to produce any of the unwanted commodities, the government will not give the permission. And the law of inheritance also do not exist. The law of inheritance means, so after death of one of the ownership, so the property will going to their successor. Okay, but under the socialism, so after one of the capitalist, after the property of one of the capitalistic will moving to the government after their death. Okay, so the government will have more chance to increasing their capital and their properties. Okay, so the property will not hold by union of the single man. And the next feature is equality of opportunity. So all the opportunity will be going to all the people in this society as a equalizations. Socialism provides equal opportunity for all through free health, education, and professional training. Okay, because so many of the skillful activity given to the people by the government. Okay, so the because of having the one of the main motive, the social welfare motive, because of having the social welfare motive, the government will provide more social welfare as a free health, hygienic and education and professional training and skillful trainings, and the because by having the banking system it will be providing more financial opportunity. When they are taking like that, so all the peoples in the society will have the more equality of opportunity for their economic activities. Okay, even suppose for example, if any of the poor entrepreneur want to start at any of the industries, he need more health or more training for the professional or what education and some of the capital. Okay, but that time so the government also given the more opportunity to start at the entrepreneurship. And another one of the beneficial feature of the socialism is classless societies. Under the socialism there is no divided the people as a two types, the poorest peoples or the richest people, or have not. Okay, so under the socialism there is a classless society and so no class conflict. Already we have studied, under the capitalism, so there is the society will be divided as a two classes, so the rich and poor, because the rich only will become as a richest and the poor people will become as a poorer, because of there is no equal opportunity. Okay, but here all the people have the more opportunity or the equal opportunity, everybody will become from the poor to rich, and at the same time so the rich people also have the chance to become as a poor. Okay, those people are having the more effort and more skillful training and the capital, they will begin as per their effort. Okay, so when this situation is going continuously, so the society will remove the classless. Okay, so what are the features are there? So the first one is feature is public ownership of means of production. Next one is central planning. Third one is maximum social benefit. Fourth one is non-existence of competition. Next, absence of price mechanism. Next one is equality of income. Next one is equality of opportunity. Last one is classless society. Okay, students, next we will study the merits of socialism. Okay, under the socialism, what are the merits are there? First one of the merits of the socialism is reduction in inequalities. Reduction in inequalities. Under the socialism, no one is allowed to own and use private property to exploit others. Okay, we have studied in our capitalistic economy, or under the capitalism, so many of the peoples or so many of the entrepreneurs under the capitalistic only will be exploiting all the natural resources and workers also. Okay, but here under the socialism, no one is allowed to own and use private property to exploit others. Okay, so when there is no chance to exploit others, so the inequalities will be reduced, right? Because under the planned of central authority only, all the basic activities or all the economic activity will be formulated. Okay, so when the government making the plan to increasing the economic development or economic activity, so it will using the resources as the equal or the optimum way. Okay, so in that time, so there is no need or there is no chance to increasing the inequalities. Okay, the inequalities will be reduced. Another one of the merits is rational allocation of resources. Rational allocation of resources. The resources will be allocated to the people as a rational way. rational way means, so on the basis of the capital level or all the resources after used by the public only, it will be moving to the private's hand. Okay, and not only that, so on the basis of the demand and supply only, so the natural resources have to be used by the both public and private. Okay, so when we are considering the capitalistic economy, there is no rational allocations of resources. Okay, even the natural resources or the factors of production and of the properties, everything will be used after or behind the optimum level. Okay, but here not like that, so all the resources will be allocated as a rational way by the government. Okay, so when they are using the resources as a rational way, so the productivity and the productions also will be increased on the basis of the demand and supply. Okay, so the resources will be protected by the government and it will be used by the both government and public as a rational way. So in these rational allocations, so many of the wastages will be minimized. Okay, because all the allocations of resources are very well planned manner. Okay, so before allocating the resource, they will planned by the government. Okay, under the planned only, so the resource will be allocated to the private and the public. When it is like that, so the all the wastage will be minimized. Next one of the merits is absence of class conflict. Absence of conflict. Already we have studied, So under the capitalistic economy, so the entrepreneur or the society will be divided as a two types, poor and the rich. Okay. But here the equality of opportunity, the equality of many benefits will be moving throughout the societies as equal. Okay, so when the situation is going on in our societies, there is no class conflict. The society also will be functioning as a harmonious way, because when there is equality, when there is the differentiation only, so there is no way to harmonious way. Okay, because all the capitalistic peoples or the richest people will started to exploiting the workers or the poor. Okay, but here the all the peoples have more or equal rights to started and undertaking the economic activity. So the class conflict will be absence. Next one is end of trade cycle. End of trade cycle mean already we studied, the business cycle. The fluctuation of business cycle. All the economic system or all the nations must be face the business cycle or the fluctuation of the business cycle. But under the socialism, more harmful basis of the business cycle will come to end, because planning authority only takes control over production and distribution of goods and services. Okay, so when they are planning as very well, so the economic activities will not face the harmful business cycle. Okay, so in whichever base it will be moving under the planning, it will be faced. Due to the intervention of the government, so the economic fluctuations can be avoided. Okay, so the trade cycle also will be moving as a pre-planned manner. The last one of merits of the socialism is promotes social welfare. Promotes social welfare. Okay, under this point, absence of exploitations will be there. Okay, the exploitations mean, so the poor people, so the rich people will be exploiting the poor peoples and they will also exploiting the natural resources in unreasonable way. Okay, but due to the government interventions, so the exploitations also will be removed. And reduction in economic inequality. Okay, so there is no more inequality. And avoidance of the trade cycle and increase in productive efficiency helpful to promote the social welfare. Okay, because of there is no exploitations and the reduction of the economic inequality, so the productivity power and the productions also will be increased more than the need. Okay, so it will be like that. So the social welfare also will be promoted increasingly. Okay, so the five merits are there. One is reduction in inequalities. Next one is rational allocation of resources. Third one is absence of class conflict. Next one is end of trade cycle. Last one is promotes social welfare. Okay, students. Next one is demerits of socialism. Even there is more merits in the socialism, some of the demerits also will be there. So what are the demerits are there mean? First one of the demerit is red tapeism and bureaucracy. Red tapeism mean so the procrastination to doing some of the work in government organizations. And bureaucracy means some of the corruptions. Okay, when we are comparing to the private organizations, more corruption will be there. And red tapeism means so the procrastination to doing some of the quick work. When we are seeing in private organizations, all the works will be done by quickly. Okay, because some of the incentives also will be increasing the working system. Okay, so in this private organization, so the capitalistic will be giving the more incentives. Okay, but in this government organization there is more incentives. Okay, even if the workers are doing their work as very well and very efficiency, they will not give any of the incentives. Okay, because of there is no incentives, so the red tapeism will be arrest. Red tapeism means the procrastinations. If you are giving some of the work, the workers will not doing successfully in a quick way. Okay, and not only that, if they want to, if any of the persons want to complete their work within the quick period, so the workers in the government organization will wants to corrupt. Okay, so the also work also will be affected by the corruption. Okay, under the socialism, all decisions are taken by the government agencies and approval of many officials, and movement of files from one table to another is take more time. Okay, already I said, so the red types and the procrastination to doing some of the work for the purpose of completed unit of the work, it will be need more time by the workers, and corruptions also will be there. Next, absence of incentives. Already I said, the absence of incentives. So in these private organizations, more incentives will be there to improving the productivity of the workers or the laborers. Okay, but in government organizations, there is no incentives for their little bit of work. Okay, from the bottom to top, all the laborers will have the income or the salary as per the planned by central authorities. Okay, so because of having the good skill, no persons will getting the incentives. Okay, the incentives also will be absent in the socialist economy. Okay, because of the absence of incentives, so there is no more increase of the productivity. The productivity power or the productivity for the workers will not be increased. So the low productivity only will be existing in these government organizations. And another one of the demerit is limited freedom of choices. Limited freedom of choices means so the consumer also will not have the more freedom to consuming the commodities. Okay, for example, the drugs and alcohol and smoking, so many of the people wants to using these commodities. Okay, by the in the government interventions, so the nation, some of the states also will not be allowed to produce these commodities. Okay, so this way so the consumer also will have the minimum choice to consuming the commodities. Okay, but in these capitalistic nations, not like that. So what are the product consumed or wants to consume by the consumer, everything will be fulfilled by the capitalistic peoples. Okay, so like that, so the production and the consumption also will be increased in the same time. So the commodities, the productions, which has affected to the health of the consumer also will be produced by the peoples or the producers. Okay, sometimes it will not be increase the productivity, or it will be affected the human welfare. And next one is the concentration of power. Okay, and the socialism, so the all the powers will be concentrate in the government hand. Okay, so the all the basic problems will be followed or controlled by the government only. Okay, not only that, the state only take all the major decisions. The private takes no initiative in making economic decisions. Okay, hence, the state is more powerful and misuse of power can also take place. The misuse of power mean sometimes even if the government has more power to implementing any of the activities, it will not be doing like that. Okay, so the power of taking all the decisions related to economic activities will going to only one hand, that is the government. Okay, in that time if the government is implemented the good policies or the good manners, it will be improving the economic activities, otherwise it will not be throughout. Okay students, so the demerits, the five demerits are there. First one is red tapeism and bureaucracy, and the next one is absence of incentives. Next one is limited freedom of choices. Another one is concentration of power. Okay, so today we have studied about the socialism and the merits of socialism, features of socialism, and demerits of socialism. Okay, okay student, just to study. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Thank you.